Under the Scope. Hey, Scope fans, it's Jared and Shane here with another summer movie review. This time around, it is Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's disaster porn thriller, San Andreas.
San Andreas.
And
Earthquakes, folks.
Earthquakes destroying California is pretty much the theme of this movie, but also there's the individual story of how The Rock has to reunite his family and only save them, I guess.
For the most part.
For the most part. Jared, it stars The Rock.
Dwayne Johnson.
Who else does it star?
It stars as his soon-to-be ex-wife, Carla Gugino.
They've got marriage problems.
They have a daughter who's played by Alexandra Daddario.
Mm-hmm.
You've got the original, not the original, but one of the movie versions of Reed Richards. I forget his name, but he's in this movie.
Paul Giamatti?
Paul Giamatti as a scientist type.
Yep.
He sort of Giamatti's his way through the film.
Is that a...
He has a way of performing, let's just say
Is that an action verb?
Yeah.
Okay.
He PG's his way.
Gotcha.
Who else? Some other people.
Yeah, nobody really...
Scientist types, some English people.
Which I've never recognized.
I don't know if they're anyone. Oh, I did notice one of his rescue team members in the first scene is Colton Haynes. You know him as Arsenal or Roy? Was it Roy? Yeah, whatever. On Arrow.
Okay.
That's where he's from. If you watch that show.
That's a deep...
But he's only in one scene.
That's a deep dive, as they say in the business.
Yeah.
So, let's make sort of the synopsis short, Jared, because there's really not a lot to cover more than what we talked about
Ray
earlier.
Gaines
you remember his
is
name?
a rescue. Well, Gaines was on his helmet, and then Ray came in through the caller ID. That's the only reason I know.
Pretty damn good.
Ray Gaines, played by Dwayne Johnson, he is a fire rescue guy. Apparently, he both rescues and pilots the helicopter.
Yeah. He was a foreign war veteran,
Yes.
Iraq or
Yes.
Afghanistan.
That should have
I'm
been
not
our
sure.
first hint at some of the jingoism that would be on display.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and he goes around rescuing people in his helicopter.
Mm-hmm.
A very, very dangerous job, obviously.
Yep.
And after an opening scene where he performs a very daring stunt, which was quite gripping, we cut to... I don't even remember what happened in the story.
So
basically, there's some tremors going on, and
Paul Giamatti's crew at CIT.
yeah, Caltech. They're apparently working on some sort of model to predict earthquakes, but there's tremors out in...
That seems like shady science to me.
a little,
but
maybe
all right.
They need a little bit more than a 5-minute warning.
yeah.
Apparently, there's been some tremors in an area around the Hoover Dam, which isn't supposed to have a fault. So they rush out there to check it out to try to prove that their model is correct.
And
turns out it is.
Yeah. In our first scene of disaster porn,
Right.
Boom goes the dynamite. Dam goes away.
Yep. And for some reason, if you could just get yourself past those steel barriers that come up, you're safe. For some reason,
Because I think that's the shore essentially, the pseudo shore.
It seemed like it was a line of demarcation between those who live and those who don't.
I think you're correct. Don't get your foot with a metal pole shoved through it, otherwise you will not cross that line.
Anyway, fast forward, data is coming in, and it is warning that the San Andreas fault is due to Go Kablooey.
And that's going to go all the way from...
Apparently, this fault line continues on through right where the Hoover Dam was, and it's one big giant fault, and the whole freaking California plate is going to go blue, 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 blue. Los Angeles is in trouble. San Francisco's in trouble. All of the small towns in between are in trouble, which we'll just barely visit. And wouldn't you know it... Ray and ex-wife are in L.A., and daughter, Blake... has traveled north to San Francisco.
With her mother's rich...
With her potential future stepfather.
Who's super rich.
Super rich. Apparently he is an architect and builds big buildings.
Maybe he's a jerk?
Might be. So, lo and behold, our principal family is separated in two of the places that are just due to be just ravaged by earthquake. So, who'd have thought?
So The Rock's got to rescue his ex-wife in the first quake.
Right. From a building top in a helicopter with an auto hover feature. I don't even know if that's real, but it is in this world.
Yeah. And then of course there's another big boomer set to come, and that's going to hit San Francisco.
It's traveling up the fault.
Yeah, well, no, it was the second one. The first one was
There's lots of quakes.
The first.
We don't need to split hairs. There's a lot of quakes.
I'm getting this out. The first Los Angeles quake sort of rattled the bones of San Francisco, but there was the second follow-up that was then going to hit San Francisco, and The Rock had to get there.
The timeline is very important that you know.
It's very, very important.
So The Rock obviously rescues his wife because, and then you see it in the trailer, it happens.
Now he's got to rescue
and now
his
he's got
daughter.
to head north by any mode of transportation he can muster.
It's like disaster porn version of planes, trains, and automobiles.
Pretty much. A helicopter, there's a plane, there's a boat, there's a truck.
I think there's a Segway scene in there that probably will be cut out from the main film and put into the Blu-ray DVD.
I thought maybe they'd cut it out of the Blu-ray, just like say, we made a mistake. We're going to make this Blu-ray a little bit more concise.
Yeah.
And as you can imagine, there's going to be lots of destruction in San Francisco. Will everyone make it? Who knows?
Who knows? Newsflash, yes.
Let's just say that nobody important dies.
So let's get this out
They're
of the
all dogs, and none of them die.
Let's get this out of the way, Jared.
Yes.
Because this is what you hear with every movie.
Yes.
Dwayne Johnson has charisma.
He does.
He's got charisma.
No doubt about it.
We get it.
He's electric.
We get it. Boogie woogie oogie. But here is the fact of the matter, Jared. When you are saddled with material such as this, you could have all the charisma of a million Dwayne "The Rock" Johnsons and throw in a couple Macho Man Randy Savages and maybe a hackshaw Jim Duggan
Yeah.
and a Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. It doesn't matter.
You're pulling out all the dreamy beefcakes.
It doesn't matter because it's still going to be terrible.
This film has some probably, I would say, good disaster spectacle, if that's what you're into.
Yeah.
It certainly delivers in that department, so no doubt about that. All of the dreck in between is horrible.
It is uncomfortable. Here's the thing with
The
this.
sort of plot gymnastics they perform to get all the players in the places they need to be, and to present you with the little story beats that they want to give you are ridiculous.
Can The Rock make it from LA to San Francisco in the time that he did? I don't know. Maybe, but maybe not.
He seems very fortunate to find everything he needs at the time he needs it.
Here is the problem, Jared.
Oh, please enumerate.
And this is the big problem.
Yes.
And it is about the genre of disaster films of today versus the way they used to be. And I don't even like them back in the old day. But in the old days, they would have something like The Towering Inferno.
Yes.
Or The Poseidon Adventure.
Yes.
Or Airplane.
Yes.
Airport, I'm sorry. Where the amount of people that would be impacted by this is limited. So you're not watching this thinking, okay, The Rock and his family are okay, but there are actually hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dead bodies everywhere of people that did not escape this. So
just about every building in San Francisco collapsed.
and San Francisco has a population of a few million people, let's say.
Right.
I mean, for them to
So San Francisco, LA, and all the surrounding communities just devastated.
Yes. So clearly there are many, 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 many people dead or injured. And as a popcorn type of flick, it's hard for me to get over that. It just is. As a baseline, it's so hard for me to watch this.
The scale of it is I mean, it's really hard to stomach.
So you have that going against it right away. So then what you do, a la like Pearl Harbor, for instance, would you try to create this personal story so you can relate to the main characters? Who cares if The Rock is having marriage problems? Who cares if he's trying to reconnect with his daughter?
And every time they bring it up, it drags the film way down.
It's like, who cares about their story in the midst of all these other people that are dying? And there's a million stories out there like that, or a million stories that even are more emotional and more meaningful than that. And I get it's a movie, and I get it's escapism, but it's really, really difficult to try to overcome that.
I was on board with some of the big leaps they made to get people where they needed to be for the story to play out. After that, you don't need to keep going back to them talking about how things fell apart in their marriage and how they lost a daughter and how things are this and that and how they never moved on. It just
bogs
it down.
We got bigger fish to fry.
We got bigger problems, and it's not time to let's focus here, guys. Yep. You got a job to do, and let's go get your daughter. That's all we care about.
And then within that, you have, we talked about this on the way out of the theater, you've got the checklist of things that you would see in a modern-day disaster movie. This one clicked them all from, the miraculous discoveries of people, like you're looking for your daughter in a city of how many million with buildings collapsing. They find her. The Rock needs transportation. He's found it. Oh,
the nick of time escapes. I mean, the ground is literally falling behind you. I mean, that happened about 4 times.
The BS jingoism that came in at the end and throughout the movie. Listen, we get it. America's great, and not that I have anything against America, but it just seems sort of out of place. I mean, Transformers did that sort of thing as well a few times.
There was a bit too much damsel in distress rescued by the male stuff. I mean, granted, they did flip around some of that. Blake ended up being a pretty capable character, but she sort of is introduced as someone who is going to need help.
Lesson, by the way, Jared, if the cell phone towers are down, all you got to do is find a landline, because of course those will be working.
And all of the old infrastructure is still in place. Don't worry.
And even if it was still in place, Jared, I'm sure the quake wouldn't have shook it to its foundation at some point.
Look, there's some problems. When a building has teetered 30 degrees off axis, chances are scaffolding in the top floors is not still going to be erect, but we're going to overlook that for the sake of your sanity, because if you start to dig in too far, you're just going to go mad.
Yeah. You burnt.
Just like San Francisco.
You burnt.
Ugh.
So, there you go, Jared.
How did it look? Can we at least, is there any positives we can take away from this?
There were some good special effects, but there were also a lot of suspect blue screen, green screen effects.
I wonder if the 3D sort of exacerbated that.
Possibly. That's very possible.
This was in 3D.
But they want people to see this in 3D.
Yeah.
And when you do, some glaring special effects problems arise.
I agree.
You had some blatant 3D things like the laser pointer.
Sure.
Which there was a laser pointer. It's almost like in Jaws or Jaws 3D or something like that, when you just have dolphins jumping the screen. Just weird things that happen for no reason just to show the 3D. I thought we were more sophisticated than that. I don't think there's a lot of greatness to take from this. It felt like a Michael Bay type of film.
Yeah. A Roland Emmerich disaster film.
Which is not any fun.
Not for me, at least.
If you're going to do a disaster movie like this, you have to approach it from a different direction, where you have to respect the disaster, you have to respect the carnage, and try to find a more realistic path through this and out of it.
When you're just heaping destruction upon destruction in many, many forms, just progressively throughout the film, you just get fatigued. Yeah. It all kind of looks the same by the end. And, I don't know. I don't know what else to say.
It ends up being garbage. So let's give it a score.
The Scope score is 1 star.
So 1 very deserved star, Jared.
1 star for the Scope crew. Now, if you're the type of person, and there's going to be many of you out there who just like pure spectacle, eye candy, summer popcorn. I don't want to think. I just want to see something for 2 hours.
Then go see Mad Max, because it's a much better action movie.
But you will probably like this as well.
Yeah.
But
this is lowest common denominator summer movie making at its essence. And if you like average, below average movies that are made to appeal to everyone, but actually end up appealing to no one with a brain, this is for you.
Yeah, I mean, you may see it once. It's not the sort of thing that's going to be a classic. You're not going to tune in, share it with your family in the years to come. It's fluff. It's nothing. You've seen it before.
I'd give it
the more I talk about it, the more angry I get.
I'd give it an extra half star if Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson could have put the main jerky boyfriend in some sort of figure 4 leg lock or wrestling move, because that would have been a good thing to check off the list at the end. He didn't get a chance to do it.
No, he met his demise another way.
There we go.
Yeah.
So, Jared, tell everyone how they can get in contact with the Scope or interact with this video.
Well, you can fly a helicopter and
then
like us. You can take a boat to comment. You can steal an airplane to subscribe to the channel.
Or bust up a looter's face and take their stolen car. We forgot about that.
You got to bust up a looter's face.
So we've got more summer movies coming, as I say every time at the end of every episode, but we really do.
We do. We've got passes in the can. They're coming.
So hopefully the next series of movies will be better.
We're hopeful.
So for Jared, I am Shane. This is The Scope. We'll see you next time.
Ladies and gentlemen, we find ourselves once again at the end. I hope you've enjoyed our time together. I know I have. Fear not, Scope faithful. The days shall pass as if they were but a moment, and Jared, Adam, and Shane will return with another thrilling episode. Until then, send your comments to comments@thescopeshow.com or leave a voicemail message by dialing
612-21-SCOPE. That's 612-217-2673.
Thanks for listening, faithful fans. This is Tony Partington saying arrivederci. Tune in next time to another terrific edition of The Scope.